si Pambing Nueva na babalita.
Anak, sabihin mo kung ano ang nilalaman ng puso mo.
Thank you, Tay!
Tay, naaalala mo ba nung niregaluhan mo ako ng mikropono? Ang sabi mo sa akin, susuportahan mo ko kahit anong gusto ko. Ang lagi mo pang ang bilin, anak, sundin mo kung anong nilalaman ng puso mo.
Ganda talaga.
Lagi mo ring pinapaalala na ako ang pinakamaganda. Mas maganda pa sa mga crush mong artista sa TV. Alam mo ba, Tay? Pinaniwalaan ko yun.
Ako, si Pam Villanueva, nagbabalita.
Hindi mo naman kasi sinabing mahilig ka sa mga palabas na comedy. Yan tuloy. Umasa ako masyado. Hindi ko inakalang iba pala ang pamantayan ng mundo. Hindi ko napaghandaan ang sakit ng mga salita mula sa tao. Ganun pa man, hindi ko kinalimutan ang bilin mo. Tay, ngayong araw, maglalakas loob ulit akong sundin ang laman ng puso ko. Ngayong araw, tutuparin ko ang pangarap nating dalawa. Handa na akong yakapin ng pagkakataong ito. Ano man ang sabihin ng iba.
Good morning, everyone. It's going to be a long and hard journey. There will be a lot of sweat and a lot of tears. I expect a lot from you. But in the end, when you become teacher broadcasters, it'll all be worth it. Are you ready? Yes! Your task at hand is to deliver your lines straight at the camera lens.
Greetings, bright minds! I hope you're having an amazing day. It's me, your English learning buddy.
Good job, DJ. Okay, next. Any volunteers? May nagtatago doon. Teacher Pam. Teacher Pam, I can see you.
Sa pagkakataong ito, babaliin ko ang pamantayan ng mundo.
Magandang wika at maalab na panitikan sa ating lahat, grade 10. Narito kayo ngayon sa classroom ni Miss Pam. Ang mamatanong na kahit sa camera laging umaanggulo, maniwala ka, sasamahan kitang mag-enjoy at matuto. Tatandaan, sa panitikang Filipino, abot kamay mo ang mundo.
All right.
Haharap ako sa kamera upang magturo. Upang hindi lamang makulong ang mga aral sa 4 na sulok ng silid-aralan. Upang mas maraming bata ang makaalam na ang mga pangarap ay binuo upang matupad.
Okay, teachers, dito nagwawakas ang ating workshop, pero hindi ang inyong training. Bye-bye.
Haharap ako sa kamera upang magturo. Para mas maraming bata ang makaalam na kahit matagal ang proseso ng pangarap, ang mahalagay umuusad. Tay, naaalala mo ba nung niregaluhan mo ko ng mikropono? Hindi ko to nagamit kanina. Pero, nagamit ko lahat ng paalala mo. Hindi na rin pala ako naniniwalang kasing ganda ko ng mga crush mong artista. Pero, mapapanood mo na ako sa TV para sa mas malalim pang advokasya.
The Department of Education, in collaboration with the Department of Information and Communications Technology and the National Transmission Corporation, will establish the Public Education Network, also known as PEN, to address the problems of connecting schools to the internet. The PEN is in line with the President's directive to both agencies announced during his State of the Nation address last 27th of July 2020 to connect all public schools and DepEd offices nationwide. This also includes the prioritization of last-mile schools by providing them access to electricity and internet. The PEN started out with the connectivity program of DepEd, which was started in 2018. It was continuously developed until the final framework was finalized with the collaboration from DICT and Transco. The PEN includes the following major components. First, a redundant core network that will house all the education systems. Second, a wide area network known as WAN that will connect schools to the core network and allow them to access education systems without the need for internet bandwidth. Third, a customer premise equipment or CPE in each school that will establish a virtual private network or VPN. Fourth, a virtual private network to secure network traffic. Fifth, a caching device in each school that will improve the responsiveness of systems. Sixth, a high-speed internet connection from all available technologies that will be distributed by the core network to schools based on the actual consumption requirements. And lastly, the school network. It is a set of networking equipment that will be needed to connect all classrooms to the internet. The PEN is implemented in 6 phases. With its target success, the PEN will result in the following advantages to the education system. First, it will allow teachers and learners to access the DepEd Commons and LR portal, which contain teacher guides, open educational resources, video and audio lectures, and electronic self-learning modules that are mapped against the curriculum. Second, it will allow teachers and learners to access the DepEd learning management system that will facilitate blended learning and allow teachers to create tests with PISA-like questions that will potentially improve the ranking of the country in the next PISA exam. The LMS will also facilitate distance learning, making the education system more resilient to disasters like the COVID-19 pandemic and typhoons, which normally results in the suspension of classes that rely only on face-to-face modalities. Third, it will allow schools to access the DepEd Enterprise Resource Planning Systems, or DERPS, that automates organizational processes such as asset management, HR transactions, payroll, procurement, and project monitoring. Fourth, it will support the implementation of TV and radio-based education by allowing learners to access a Netflix-like application that can be used to access video and audio lectures that will also be broadcasted through TV and radio stations. Fifth, it will allow the department to conduct a large-scale teacher trainings with minimal cost, as demonstrated by DepEd when it trained 337,486 public school teachers on distance learning modalities in just a span of 2 months during community quarantine. Sixth, it will substantially reduce the cost of internet connection by allowing teachers and learners to access educational systems that are housed in the core network through the wide area network without the need for internet bandwidth. 7. It will allow security management to be centralized and ensure that teachers and learners will be safe from cyber attacks and harmful websites. It will also allow schools that are used as precincts to send election results through a VPN that is secure and protected from external attackers. In addition, it will provide a centralized view of the entire network, allowing DepEd to automatically identify disconnections even without feedback from the schools and thus make the appropriate response to reconnect the disconnected schools. The Public Education Network is a collaborative project between DepEd and DICT that will modernize the education system and make Filipino graduates more competitive in the international market. It is an investment that is needed to respond to the growing challenges of a world that has grown more unpredictable and uncertain. It will be the foundation for the next generation of Filipino leaders and highly equipped, innovative educators.
Year 2020. You started to defy limits.
Ating tuklasin, obra! Lagi mong gamitin ang iyong isip at kilos loob.
Proving that education knows no boundaries. Bringing knowledge to every part of the country.
May kulang ba sa akin? May mali ba sa akin? Pangit ba ako?
Magbasa, magsulat, makinig at maghaya.
This 2021, as we come to a year of DepEd TV, of turning dreams into reality, of courage to initiate and innovate, of passion that goes beyond tradition. We proudly present the first ever DepEd TV Awards. Outstanding Teacher Broadcaster Awards. Production Awards. Special Awards. And Core Values Awards. A night of excellence and gratitude. This is DepEd TV Awards, coming in August 2021.
Welcome to the second half of our virtual international multidisciplinary webinar series.
And this afternoon, we are proud to present to you our next speaker. Our next speaker is the head of the ICTS Educational Technology Unit. He joined the Department of Education on April 16, 2018 as the Executive Assistant 2 for the Undersecretary for Administration. With his expertise in mobile learning technology, his works were recognized by the brothers of LaSalle Green Hills, where he works as a former grade school Filipino and Araling Panlipunan teacher. He served the institution as the Educational Technology Coordinator and Liaison Officer from 2013 to 2017. He established the framework of the school's PEAR program, which highlighted the effective use of technology in delivering quality instruction. In addition, with his leadership in the PEAR office, LaSalle Green Hills was awarded as the very first Microsoft Showcase in the Philippines. He was also invited and gave several empowerment programs locally and internationally to inspire and capacitate teachers' skills in using ICT.
He is a Google certified innovator and a Microsoft Education Ambassador. In 2019, he was awarded as the EdTech Leader in Asia K-12 category, second place by the EdTech Asia, which was held in Singapore. In 2020, he represented the Philippines as a delegate to observe the best practices of schools in using ICT in USA and United Kingdom. With his vast knowledge and expertise in educational technology, he is one of the consultants of the Undersecretary for Administration that provides expert-level advice to continue the thrust of DepEd in delivering quality, accessible, relevant, and liberating education for the Filipino learners. For him, a teacher's influence is limitless. A true dedicated teacher with a heart for service will do everything to see the bright future of our beloved country, the Philippines. We are so honored to present to you, for his keynote speech, Sir Mark Anthony, CC.
As we face the command of rapid development in technological innovation in the world, the Philippines' preparedness in advancement of its physical facilities, infrastructure, and soft skills are given focus, especially with the empowerment of teachers' capacity and capability, not only in pedagogical aspects of teaching, but the confidence in delivering instruction with the use of information and communications technology. The Office of the Undersecretary for Administration, under the leadership of USEC Alain Delby Pasqua, established the Educational Technology Unit under the Information and Communications Technology Service. Its prime function is to empower and capacitate public school teachers and learners as required by the global demand of the fast-paced development in technology. The task of the Educational Technology Unit is to promote and solidify the innovation and digitization projects that will support the requirements of the K-12 curriculum in delivering quality, accessible, relevant, and liberating education for all. It targets different components and facets of skills development, which will enable the technological advancement of the infrastructure of DepEd. This is supplemented with empowerment training programs in emerging technologies for public school teachers. The programs of the EdTech unit target the emerging pedagogies focused on open educational resources, robotics and mechatronics, coding and programming, virtual reality and augmented reality in education, mobile application development, Internet of Things, and the productivity tools for learning, which includes Microsoft Office 365, Google Apps for Education, and the different Adobe software tools. In addition, the maneuver of in-house applications such as the DepEd Commons and the DepEd Learning Management System is under the flagship of the EdTech unit. The supervision of DepEd TV in ensuring world-class produced video lessons is another task of the office. Lastly, the conduct of free online tutorial session, coined with the term eTulay, is a bridging program to support learners and parents in answering the self-learning modules pioneered with the initiative of the ICTS-EdTech unit. A teacher's influence is limitless, bound with the heart for service and dedication to fulfill the greatest mission to educate the young. The ICTS Educational Technology Unit will be there to promote, to empower, and to inspire Filipino teachers and learners as we grow as a tiger in the region, hitting our target as one of the best in educational technology. Come on and join us as we make our dreams into a reality. Sama-sama tayong lahat tungo sa iisang layunin, Simulan natin ang pagbabago dahil tayo ang mga gurong magtatayo ng makabagong DepEd. Sulong Edukalidad.
To all educators around the globe, a pleasant day to all of you. Reimagining and designing the future is never easy. But as educators, as teachers, who love and do have the passion to teach young minds and touching hearts and to transform their lives, it is now the high time for us to set up the digital transformation that we should have. I am Mr. Mark Anthony C., the ICTS-EdTech Unit Head from the Department of Education in the Philippines. Allow me to share to you the digital transformation of education systems on how we are going to bridge this gap and bring about designing the paradigm of the future. With the COVID-19 pandemic situation that happened around the globe, it really impacted a lot. The world recognized the importance of investing in digital economy. And when we talk about digital economy, it focuses primarily with the utilization of ICT, encompassing different facets of the field and different sectors, which includes the survival of the fittest. We commonly hear this coined term in science, but with the COVID-19 pandemic, we are surely that all things around us who have survived have emerged in utilizing ICT effectively. From the tourism sector, healthcare system, transportation, and even the education sector, all of them have been damaged by the COVID-19 pandemic. In just a span of about 1 year, everything has changed. The emerging word, the new normal, have begun. With this, many of us have faltered. Many of us should adjust in order for us to survive. For the tourism sector, there are a lot of things which boil down to unemployment of many people, including also with the healthcare system. The supply of health workers is really a problem. In terms of transportation, there is a hold onto it, so we can never travel. And lastly, for the system of education, everybody was caught unaware. Everybody needs to adjust. And I'm very proud to say that the Philippines have emerged as one of the champions in surviving this struggle. The digital transformation will focus onto the following things that each and every country and every education sector should adjust. Let's focus first on the empowered citizens. If we have empowered citizens, then we are capable enough in innovating and transforming different sectors. We need to adjust to the needs of the future. We should not just rely on what is happening in the past. Past will just simply help us on what we are going to proceed with the future. Take note that when we have the empowered citizens, it comprises the professional growth of teachers. If we have empowered teachers delivering these things in the education sector, then learners will be capable also. Second, we need to have an engaged community, a community that has partnership. The public and the private sector must work hand in hand in order to fulfill this dream. With the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen it happen. And in the Philippines, it did happen. We are very thankful with our partners such as UNICEF, UNDP, USAID, ADB, wherein they have proven and shared their expertise so that we could bridge these gaps and totally to have a digital transformation. Likewise, we have our best of the best leaders in the country who never stop in dreaming and making these things into a reality. Third is having the security and growth. We need to make sure that when we have the digital transformation, the sector should have the security, especially in accessing the online world. This growth must be empowered. Our learners, our teachers, our community must be taught well enough on how to have this digital transformation and proper utilization, especially using social media. Fourth, we have seen how the products have transformed. I know you are familiar with Shopee. If before, people tend to go to the malls, buying things, but with the COVID-19 pandemic, many of us have adjusted and utilized different application tools to serve our needs and wants. Likewise, this goes also with schools. Before, we had the face-to-face instruction. Since there is a hold with regards to this one, schools have emerged in using different tools such as a learning management system, understanding the productivity tools which is offered by Google Workspace for Education Fundamentals, and also with Microsoft Office 365. And lastly, we have optimized operations. Our government, our local government units, all sectors have worked hand in hand for us to have this digital transformation. Yes, it is hard, it is difficult, but we emerge as one. With the digital transformation, we have improved the following. Number one, improvement in the access to technology. Second, the use of digital learning platforms. Third, the nurture for having the digital literacy skills of educators and learners. And lastly, strengthening the transferable skills. All of this, COVID-19 have proven and revealed that there is a digital divide. The access to technology, when we talk about it, there is a discrepancy or a divide between those learners living in the city and those in the remote areas. With this access to technology, the digital learning platforms are also divided. For the ones in the city, they might have their mobile learning devices, but for the remote areas, they have only their radio, their television, or even modular print materials. But we have proven them that we can move forward by nurturing the skills of our teachers and empowering the digital citizenship of our learners. We must not stop. We need to continue even if the COVID-19 is already resolved. The new normal is the new normal. The abnormal stage will still be resolved with the help of our teachers, with the help of our respective community. And through that, we need to take note that we need to strengthen these transferable skills. These transferable skills pertains to the 21st century skills, the soft skills, the social-emotional skills of our learners, and we need to take focus also with the mental health of our educators. As you could see in the picture, this is how the Philippine education have emerged and try to look for different innovative solutions. We have the use of radio, television, print materials, and even the utilization of online tools. All facets have been tested. And through this, many learners have lacked in access to connectivity, devices, and even the digital experiences, most especially in the remote areas. But this one didn't hinder the government to look for effective methodologies in order for us to deliver quality, accessible, and liberating education for our learners. And through that, teachers who are unfamiliar with the new technology and application tools are empowered. We know that these two sentences here are one of the major impact or problems, not only with the Philippines, but any sectors or any schools around the globe. Through these things, COVID-19 revealed the need for change. You heard it right. The need for change for us to grow further so that we can reimagine the future. We cannot return to the world as it was before, but we can recreate the world what we wanted it to be. The future lies in the hands of our leaders, of our teachers, so that our learners will benefit from it. As you could see, we have effective tools here. We have laptops, cell phones, tablets, and the like. Before, schools have thought that these tools are just only gaming tools that might stop, disrupt, or distract learners. But with the COVID-19 situation, it impacted and showed relevance to adjust the needs of our learners. Therefore, these pedagogies, these emerging pedagogies must also be evolved. Our curricular sector must adjust because this is the future. We have rapid shift from home-based learning. If before we had the face-to-face instruction, we are now considering these things because of the COVID-19. And these are the following. There's the radio-based instruction, the television broadcast, the use of printed modules, and even the inclusion of social media. These 4 tools are already available, but with the COVID-19 situation, there is much more impact. I am not talking here for the side only of the Philippines. I am sharing this to the entire world. We need to consider these technologies, these media, these platforms to be reconsidered, to be included in our curricular offerings to adjust the needs of our learners. Radio will help us to have an inclusion, especially in helping our blind learners. The television broadcast is a good apparatus, a media material, especially in delivering audio-visual formatted lessons which is aligned to the curriculum. The printed modules are very efficient also. Through this, the motor skills will be applied. And lastly, the consideration of applying social media, linking it with education. We need to take note that digital citizenship is very important. If we teach our learners the effective utilization of these tools, then this will make something different in the education sector. We will make it happen. Hand in hand, any country in the world should look onto these things because these emerging tools will be a good tool, a good material for future schools. Next, we need to have a strike and balance between digital learning and the human-centered education. There should be a consideration after COVID-19 if we are going to have a straight face-to-face classes. Because when we talk about COVID-19, we don't know it could last for 2 to 3 more years. And with these things, learners and even teachers have already adjusted. Digital learning is important, but we need to consider also the human interaction. This human interaction has the capacity, has the capability to give compassion, to touch the hearts of our learners. Lastly, the most important thing, the continuity of the professional development courses given to our educators. This includes digital literacy, the alternative modes of making or giving assessment, and lastly, creating a more relevant curriculum. Through all of this, the COVID-19 revealed that we need to promote creative responses. Remember, we need to create creative responses. With these creative responses, we need to recognize that digital transformation is here to stay. This is also an opportunity for us to redefine and to tweak education. We need to consider all of these things because the future is tickling us. It informs us that our learners are different. We need to consider the fact that these digital natives can learn easier with the use of these ICT tools, and an inclusion of this ICT in education is a must. The education sector leaders must create programs for sustainable development to ensure that quality of education is future-proof. I am very proud to share this, that the Philippines have managed this one, because for us to see the future, we are risk takers at present. And I am very proud to say that the leader, our Secretary Leonor Magtolis Briones, including the EXECOM members, are risk takers. And with that, I am very proud to share to all of you that we have the DepEd TV project. The DepEd TV project is something that we could say it is unprecedented. Teachers are not broadcasters. It is a different platform or medium, but they have managed to understand its complexities because they love the learners. Through these television-based materials, learners can watch free TV lessons in just a click away. In addition, the inclusion of DepEd online materials, so-called E2Lie, have managed to give free tutorial sessions to learners and even helping the teachers and parents facilitate learning. This one could help either in online synchronous or online asynchronous activities. Likewise, episodes can also be downloaded and be shared using a thumb drive. And lastly, having the DepEd radio. These radio-based instruction, especially used in the far-flung areas in the Philippines, help a lot in sustaining and giving quality education to the learners. These three unprecedented projects prove that Filipino leaders, Filipino teachers are future ready. Technology should not be a privilege. Every learner and teacher should have a right to access to it. We need to consider giving this opportunity to all and not by only a few. We need to collaborate with different sectors, the private sectors, the NGOs or non-governmental organizations, the LGUs, and even our community. And once we collaborate, we will make it work. These four concepts will be helpful enough in order for us to build a transformative education. First, through this collaboration, there could be a donation of different mobile learning devices. It could be in a tablet format or a smartphone. We need to consider the utilization of different available applications because these things are part of the soft skills of our learners that need to be learned. Second, through this, we could have a good internet services. By providing internet service, learners can access different OER tools, different collaboration tools and communication tools that will enable them to be capacitated and learn the 21st century skills. Again, I am highlighting the capacity building of educators. We need to take note that it's not only the pedagogy. We need to consider the emerging pedagogies, the ICT tools that needs to be learned. And lastly, creating an inclusion of digital citizenship program and platform or projects that will empower and mold our future leaders in the country. As you could see here, this is a table indicated by the Department of Education in the Philippines. Imagine, this virtual inset ran from March 14 to 18. In 5 days, the department have managed to train a total of 514,649 teachers. And the COVID-19 revealed that teachers can innovate. Teachers will do everything teachers will risk everything, and they are very open enough to learn new platforms to continue education. COVID-19 is the virus. Teachers also are a virus that can spread love, compassion, and resiliency that we can move forward. Allow me now to share to you the paradigm of a transformed education system. Any country in the world must consider these 8 things. These 8 materials or this transformed education system is actually a part of how you're going to envision the future. First, you need to have a commitment to strengthen inclusive education. Remember, consider the indigenous people group. Consider those who doesn't have an access. Consider those learners who have special needs. Through this, we can transform education. There is a specific technology that they can utilize. It's just a matter of supporting and venturing it out. Number 2, giving equal access to information and technology. The use of ICT is very inevitable. It's already around us. We need to consider these things to make it available, not only in the city, but also in the remote areas. Third, the value for professional and technical expertise of teachers without bias. I want to point it out onto this item. We have a lot of teachers. Scout them out. Look for the unicorn. This unicorn will help your school to transform it better. Recognize their expertise, not just only with their salary grades. Recognize how they perform without any bias. We value them. The new teachers, the old teachers, or the senior ones should help hand in hand to transform education. Fourth, the prioritization of mental health and wellness. When we consider transforming education, it means that we need to face the technology. We need to face a longer period in utilizing the internet. However, we need to consider the wellness of our teachers in recognizing their needs. Mental health is also an issue. We need to ask them. We need to listen to them. As leaders, as teachers, we need to help one another. Fifth, protecting the social space. As I've included earlier the use of social media, we need to consider how we protect our learners in this area or medium. There are a lot of trolls. There are a lot of mistakes from the past. We should not repeat that. As teachers, let's observe and plan out on how we're going to transform and make the use of social media effectively. But most importantly, protecting our learners in using it. 6, the use of open educational resources and available technologies. It makes our learners and teachers transform by utilizing these soft skills, which is necessary for them to create, invent, and recreate new knowledge. 7, to prioritize the development of the whole person and not just the academic skills. We need to consider that when we focus on transforming education, the co- and extracurricular skills should also be included. The prioritization of transforming a whole person is necessary. We need to make sure that knowledge and values are well-oriented. It is connected. I repeat, knowledge and values are connected. And lastly, strengthening the ability of the education system in emerging technologies. We need to adjust. If ever we are not ready, remember the quotation, survival of the fittest. Remember that online learning is essential, but this approach cannot fully replace the face-to-face teaching. As we move forward, we need to overhaul our experiences to be great educators. Let us fuel our passion for teaching and let us lead as an example. Remember, if you have the heart for teaching, you are a teacher. It is a noble profession. Let us use this disaster to build and develop a renaissance for education. The COVID-19 will not stop us because we, teachers, can recreate the future. And allow me to end my presentation with a quotation given by Henry Steele Commodore. Education is essential to change, for education creates both new wants and the ability to satisfy them. My dear colleagues, I hope that you have seen and you are now empowered to see the future on how we are going to reimagine and design a new paradigm of educational system. We need to take note that when we talk about digital transformation, it talks about our digital skills, our digital technology tools, and also the transferable skills. Maraming salamat po. Thank you very much.
As we face the command of rapid development and technological innovation in the world, the Philippines' preparedness in advancement of its physical facilities, infrastructure, and soft skills are given focus, especially with the empowerment of teachers' capacity and capability, not only in pedagogical aspects of teaching, but the confidence in delivering instruction with the use of information and communications technology. The Office of the Undersecretary for Administration, under the leadership of USEC Alain Delby Pasqua, established the Educational Technology Unit under the Information and Communications Technology Service. Its prime function is to empower and capacitate public school teachers and learners as required by the global demand of the fast-paced development in technology. The task of the Educational Technology Unit is to promote and solidify the innovation and digitization projects that will support the requirements of the K-12 curriculum in delivering quality, accessible, relevant, and liberating education for all. It targets different components and facets of skills development, which will enable the technological advancement of the infrastructure of DepEd. This is supplemented with empowerment training programs in emerging technologies for public school teachers. The programs of the EdTech unit target the emerging pedagogies focused on open educational resources, robotics and mechatronics, coding and programming, virtual reality and augmented reality in education, mobile application development, Internet of Things, and the productivity tools for learning, which includes Microsoft Office 365, Google Apps for Education, and the different Adobe software tools. In addition, the maneuver of in-house applications such as the DepEd Commons and the DepEd Learning Management System is under the flagship of the EdTech unit. The supervision of DepEd TV in ensuring world-class produced video lessons is another task of the office. Lastly, the conduct of free online tutorial session, coined with the term eTulay, is a bridging program to support learners and parents in answering the self-learning modules pioneered with the initiative of the ICTS-EdTech unit. A teacher's influence is limitless, bound with the heart for service and dedication to fulfill the greatest mission to educate the young. The ICTS Educational Technology Unit will be there to promote, to empower, and to inspire Filipino teachers and learners as we grow as a tiger in the region, hitting our target as one of the best in educational technology. Come on and join us as we make our dreams into a reality. Sama-sama tayong lahat tungo sa iisang layunin. Simulan natin ang pagbabago dahil tayo ang mga gurong magtatayo ng makabagong DepEd. Sulong Edukalidad.
Thank you very much, Sir Mark Anthony CC, the head of the Educational Technology Unit. And we would like to remind our participants that there will be no evaluation links for Mr. Mark Anthony C because he just delivered his keynote speech.
Yes, and for his speech, we learned a lot, especially on digital transformations, the effects of change in education. And since he mentioned out about change, and from our previous speaker, Sir Salvador Manansada first, he mentioned about 21st century learning design and human capital. I will also elaborate on these concepts tomorrow at 10:50 to 11:30.
Yes, so we will now proceed to our next speaker. Can you please introduce our next speaker?
All right, so for our next speaker, his topic will be about writing. And writing, partners, one of the macro skills in English that is very hard to teach, even it is not pandemic. Even in the actual classroom, English language teachers find it hard to check and to assess students in writing. So let us know how teachers can really improve on teaching this macro skill. The title of the talk is Write About, an alternative for writing classes in the time of COVID-19. And this will be the topic of Dr. Budi Waluyo, Assistant Professor, Walailak University, Thailand.
Morning, everyone. My name is Budi Waluyo. I'm an assistant professor at Walailak University. I'm going to present to you an application named Write About, in which can be an alternative for your writing classes in the time of COVID-19. I hope this presentation will be useful for all of you. Let me just get started. So, why writing? Writing is basically important for two reasons. First, it is a vital skill for academic and occupational success. So when you're learning how to write well, you're actually not going to only use it for your study, but also when you work, you will also need it. So for the students, it will be beneficial for their academic and also for their future job. Another one is writing is an effective tool for the development of academic language proficiency. As you know, if a teacher or lecturers are required to publish papers, for example, right now, right? It is a very difficult requirement to be fulfilled. Why? Because it will need a high level of writing skill to get a research paper published, especially in international journals, right? So, in other words, when people can write well in a foreign language such as English, it means that they have high level of English language proficiency. Usually, they have a good level of language proficiency in other skills like reading, listening, and speaking if they have been good in writing. However, It is not a secret that writing is the hardest skill to learn and acquire. Imagine that you are teaching writing in class. It is the most difficult skill to learn for the students, and now you have to do it online. You can imagine how difficult it is to do. So my presentation will help you a little bit in terms of how to use this app right about to conduct your online writing classes. You know, teaching writing right now, there is no doubt about it that it has been moved from this, in which face-to-face in class, to this online. Before we meet the students in class, now we meet the students in virtual class. And although this is only a movement from face-to-face to online, there have been so many difficulties, especially for teachers and students. For teachers, it can involve additional preparation for them, time to learn new technology, and also they have to work at home, in which they have to take care of their family as well, kids and other stuff. Students also are not finding it easy to learn online because it sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time makes them lazy. They get in the class without taking shower and stuff like that. So teaching writing in class is difficult already, and now we move it online, it even makes it more difficult. That's why I'd like to present to you an alternative application named Writeabout. You can open the application using your smartphone or your PC. Just type writeabout.com. This is the interface of the website. If you log in, if you are the first user, you will have to go to register, of course. I will tell you step by step and what advantages you can expect by using this application. So the question is, why am I suggesting Writeabout, not other apps? I would say Writeabout allows you to first create a virtual class. You know, teachers usually teach more than one class, right? For example, class 3A, class 3B. So you can't just mix all the students, right, in one meeting. And also, because this is an online class, you got to group the students based on their classes, right? So this Writeabout allows you to create, this is class 3A, this is class 3B, including the names of the students. So you're not going to be worried about students being mixed up. Okay. Next is about writing. Writing is very closely associated with feedback, right? Teacher feedback, especially if it is at school. Peer feedback if it is at university level. So Writeabout allows you to give written and oral feedback. Let's say you don't want to write your feedback. You can just speak it, record it, and then students will listen to you. That is one of the fantastic features of Writeabout. And then it allows you to conduct synchronous and asynchronous learning. What are they? So synchronous learning is like having a meeting in real time. Like if you're having a meeting, a class in the classroom, that is synchronous learning, in which you and your students meet at a particular time and you have the class. Asynchronous learning, it means that you and your students are not meeting at the same time or real time. Let's say you record your teaching on YouTube and then you post it on a blog or on Facebook, and you say this is the assignment that students have to do, and then students will watch your videos in different times. Maybe some watch it in the morning, others watch it in the afternoon, and then the assignment they complete it in different times as well. That is called asynchronous learning, in which you and your students are basically not meeting at the same time. And Write About let you to choose which one do you want to conduct. You can use Write About in a synchronous learning mode or in a synchronous learning mode. The other advantage is Write About provides more ideas for your students. They create some topics, free topics, so when students open Write About, they can choose which ideas that work for them. If they want some ideas, if they have their own ideas, they can do that as well. Another one is Write About allows you to make a writing class flexible and accessible. What I mean by flexible is that it is related to synchronous and asynchronous learning modes, in which you can assign them to do one assignment and then the students can do it anytime they want, or you can ask them to do it in the real time when meeting with you in the class, in the virtual classroom. Okay, accessible, I mean that students do not have to access the app using PC. They can just open the app using their smartphone, and then they can write on their smartphone, as simple as writing a short messages. So how do we use this app? First, like I told you earlier, open writeabout.com and then click register. When you click register, you will see this: I am a student or I am an educator. Of course, you're an educator, so click an educator. Okay. Next, if you are, so you have already registered because you are an educator, right? If you are a student, this is for your students, what you're going to tell to your students, okay? They can just choose I am student for your student. They don't need to register. They just need your teacher code, and then they just need to create their own username, and they need to create their own password. Okay, so what they need absolutely is your teacher code. How do you get your teacher code? Let's continue with your registration process. Okay, so when you have finished your registration, click I am an educator, and you will complete your name and email and stuff, and then you log in. This is how it looks like when you are logged in. Okay, you can see ideas, you can see posts, you can see classes, you can see students. Ideas meaning that ideas for writing. You will find, if you click this, you will find a lot of topics, writing topics. And if you see posts here, you will see posts from your students. Here, if you click classes, it will appear like this. If you have more than one class, you will see more than one class here. Like me, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 classes here. So if I want to go to class 1-to-1 section 5, I can just click it. Or another class, just click it. As simple as that. Students is the list of students that you have. Can be in each class or as a whole. Okay. And now how do you create a virtual class? So you see here, create new class. So you click classes, create new class, and then you see here, if you click create new class, you will see this one, manual setup, and then you put the class name, class description. If you have asked your students earlier, see, I told you earlier, ask your students to register and then choose I am a student and then enter your teacher code. If they do that, you will see their names here, so you can add them to this class. Okay, just click, 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 and you will see their name in the class later. Or if you have a co-teachers, you can also add your co-teachers in this class. So this is also another thing that is fascinating about Writeabout. You can add co-teacher in one class. So both of you can observe the class, can talk to the students, can read the students' writing. So you can add a co-teacher here. All right. So here, if you click my account, if you have already had an account, you will see teacher code. This is the code that you will give to your students. BW4847 for my code. For your code will be different, right? So this is the teacher code. So after that, you go and create the class here. After you finish creating the class, how student write? How student write? So you see, create an idea, write a post. So if you create an idea, students will just upload an image and then write. Or if students choose write on a post, just click that and then write. They can add an image or title and then write here. So basically the interface looks like a blog, but this is much simpler than a blog. So if you see the interface here, more like Facebook interface, the space for writing here. If your students do not want to write, they can record audio as well. So basically this is very flexible, but of course you want your students to write in this platform, right? If you click this, if you see here publish, right, save as a draft, it means that students can work on their writing multiple times. If they're not finished yet, they can just save it as a draft. And then if they finish it, they can click publish. Publish here, if the students is included in one class, it will appear like this. So the students can share it with any class they are in. If they are in this class, they will click class and then share their writing to this class. What is the result of that? The result of that, the teacher will see the students' post in this class. So when the teacher click classes earlier and see the class, they will be able to see the students' writing. Simple, right? And when I said if students need ideas, Writeabout will give them some ideas. This is the look of it. So on Writeabout, they can find several ideas pinned for students, different topics like this one. Write about something you've always wanted to learn how to. If the students interested in this topic, they just need to click and then they can write about it. A lot of topics. So this is very helpful if you're teaching elementary or high school students. And also for university students, this is helpful. It's not really scientific. It's kind of free, but you can stick with the writing skills development. And then see, as a teacher here, if you click post here, you will be able to find your classes and you can choose which class you want to see. So after the student finish their writing and they click publish in class, I showed you earlier, they will be able to see the writing will appear on your board like this. So this is one of my students, this is another student. So if I want to read their writing, I can just click it. If I have more than one class, I just click one class and then the students' writings from that class will appear here. Simple, right? And then this is how the students' writings look like. Simple, The interface is plain, so nothing more, no advertisement. So this is also good. So the students only black and white in using black and white interface. So like this, so clear, very clear. If they're writing something here, you can read it clearly. And if they put picture here, clear. And you can also see the total number of words written by your students. About giving feedback, I said earlier, you can give oral and written feedback, right? So if you want to give oral feedback, you have seen your students writing here, you click, you read the writing, and then you want to give feedback. I don't want to write. It's okay. You can just give oral feedback. How? Just when you click the post from your students, just click record audio, then you can talk. Simple, right? Or if you want to give written feedback, you can just block which one you think is incorrect. For example, hello. You can click, you can block and then right click. It will appear like this. If it is spelling mistake, you can say the spelling is wrong, or it has grammatical error. Up to you. You can give comment here. And when your students, this is a good thing. When your students open their post, they will be able to see this message pop up. So they can see, oh, this is what my teacher's comment is. So I need to edit it. So your students can edit their writing right away. And you can tell them whether to delete your comment after the revision or leave the comment after the revision, up to you. And don't forget to click save. So basically this is what I said. You can give oral and written feedback, both of them or one of them. And also you can do this class synchronously, like when you're having Zoom meeting, you ask your students to open this, write, work together. It works. Or asynchronous, you said, write about this topic. And then the deadline is next Friday. And then you don't need to ask them to submit somewhere. You just need to open your teacher's board here and see the class, and you will see your students' writings here. Simple, right? And what makes it easier is that students can use their smartphone. No need to use PC. And it's actually, if the students like using Facebook, they should be able to open this one. Okay? Right. All the features, this is a good news, okay? All the features that I explained earlier, visual class, feedback, oral and written, and also topics, and adding co-teachers, all of them are free. If you want to have more, you can go for premium option. But I would say just go for the free version and you're good to go to have a writing class using Write About. So I would say in conclusion, teaching writing in the time of COVID-19 is not easy and will always be challenging. And it has been like this ever since. Face-to-face, difficult. Online, more difficult. Teaching writing, right? So that's why I said Write About can be an alternative for you to conduct writing classes. And you can combine synchronous and synchronous learning together in this application. What is good about it is it's free. You can give feedback. Students can write anywhere, anytime they want, and also you can give feedback written and oral. I think that's all what I can tell you. I hope you can use this application and can be useful for conducting your writing classes. It's not only for English writing, can be about any writing classes as long as it involves students to write. All right, that's all from me, Budi Waluyo. Thank you very much for watching And I hope sometimes in the future we can meet in person. See you. Stay safe and stay healthy, okay?
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Budi Waluyo, for his speech about Write About, an alternative for writing classes in the time of COVID-19. And like what I told you, partner, it's really hard to grade writing even before the pandemic. There are so many features about writing that English teachers need to check. Now, for our participants, we'd like to, especially our English teachers, that are our participants for today, kindly tell us what are the strategies that you employed in checking the writing of your students. Now, while we are waiting for your answers, we'd like to prepare our session right now for the next speaker.
Yes, so allow me to introduce our next speaker, partner. So our next speaker is a mathematics teacher and the lead trainer of Open Educational Resources in the Department of Education. And he has been working in the Department of Education for 15 years, doing national, regional, division, and school training around the Philippines. Some of his accomplishments and achievements includes Google Certified Educator for Levels 1 and 2, Google Certified Trainer, Microsoft Education Ambassador, Microsoft Certified Azure AI Fundamentals, Outstanding National Service Training Program Implementer at Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Muntinlupa, Outstanding Alumni of Muntinlupa National High School, Wood Badge Holder of Boy Scout of the Philippines, and he serves as a national, regional, council, and schools trainer. All these credentials definitely made him an outstanding citizen of Muntinlupa in 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to present to you our project lead for Open Educational Resources, one of the EdTech specialists, of course, none other than Mr. Sherwin Gonzalez Lomeda.
My name is Sherwin Lumeda, one of the EdTech specialists in the Department of Education here in Philippines, and we welcome all of you on our international webinar. Today, we have a very interesting topic about Open Educational Resources, or OER. What is OER again? Open Educational Resources are teaching, learning, and research materials in any medium, digital or otherwise. It resides in the public domain or have been released under an open license that permits no-cost access, use, adaptation, and redistribution by others with no or limited restrictions. OER form part of open solutions alongside free and open source software, or FOSS, open access, or OA, open data, or OD, and crowdsourcing platforms. So what is UNESCO's mandate in OER? UNESCO is the only UN agency with a dedicated Good day, everyone. My name and Category 2 centers working on the promotion of OER. In addition, UNESCO leads intergovernmental discussions on OER capacity building, policy, sustainability, quality, and accessibility issues and its applications to meet the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And what is all about this sustainable development? Focus on education, or the SDG 4, was adopted with a vision to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So here in Philippines, we promote Project Sulong, means strategic utilization
Good day! Are we digitally ready? This is a question that teachers and learners are probably asking right now. With the advent of DepEd's Digital Rights program, the Open Educational Resources, or OER, was woven together and finally realized. This project prioritizes the necessity to enhance the digital literacy skills of every teacher and learner in the country. Our OER mission is to connect the disconnected. OER is indeed an innovative initiative with a lofty aim to get disconnected schools and last-mile schools connected through ICT even without an internet connection.
It is designed to cater to the need of these schools for interactivity, digitalization, and delivery of 21st century skills that will ensure that every learner is future ready. Join us in another training workshop and learn more about open educational resources, whose primary purpose is to provide support and assistance to learners and teachers in this rapid advancement of technology. Our goal is to build and strengthen the capabilities of public and private teachers, school heads, and supervisors by teaching you to create and design interactive, localized, and contextualized instructional materials for teaching using basic, advanced, and proficiency software and tools. Surely, this will be another exciting and engaging webinar training workshop. Together, let's all rise amidst this crisis. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, para sa guro. Sulong, edukalidad!
My name is Sherwin Lumeda, one of the EdTech specialists. But you do not need internet connection.
Okay, well, we are fixing some technical issues with the speech of Sir Sherwin Lumeda. Someone from our participants answered how he was able to check the writing outputs of his student during a pandemic classroom. And Mr. Ronald C. Espeno said, I always remind my students to sharpen their vocabulary. Use simple sentences first and progress as they move on. Go straight to the point. So that is a very brief answer or brief way of telling how to grade and assess students' writing in a pandemic classroom. It's really a challenge for the English teacher to assess writing because it's really challenging. Right now, let us see the participants or how active our participants are in our comment section. Can you please recognize some of our some of our participants, partner?
Yes, of course. We would like to acknowledge the participants, definitely mostly from, I think, from Pangasinan, from Zamboanga, Sibugay. We are actually reading your comments here, but it's just that we don't have a lot of time for reading each one of them. And we will be posting the evaluation links. I actually also posted
Hey
here
everyone, my
on
name is
my Facebook
Sherwin
account so
Lumeda,
that my
one of
friends
the
can
EdTech
share it.
specialists in the Department of Education here in Philippines.
So,
Okay, so we'll go back to Sir Sherwin, but we'll be posting the evaluation links first, okay? So that you will be able to evaluate our speakers. And I think we're going to have this one, okay? So our first speaker this afternoon is Dr. Budi Waluyo. And his topic is about write about an alternative for writing classes in the time of COVID-19. Okay, so please teachers kindly take note of this. Take a screenshot of our evaluation for Dr. Waluyo.
okay, so we can assess how you enjoyed his talk, especially our English teachers.
Yes, okay. So are we ready for the video for Sir Sherwin Lameda?
I think Sir Sherwin is already ready right now.
Okay, so again, let's actively participate and listen to the talk about OER of Mr. Sherwin Lameda.
Everyone, my name is Sherwin Lumeda, one of the EdTech specialists in the Department of Education here. Standard setting framework in this area worldwide. UNESCO believes that universal access to information through high-quality education contributes to peace, sustainable social and economic development, and intercultural dialogue. OER provides a strategic opportunity to improve the quality of learning and knowledge sharing, as well as improve policy dialogue, knowledge sharing, and capacity building globally. Since 2002, UNESCO has developed large-scale projects with global projects with impact at the regional, national, and institutional level to provide expert technical assistance to member states in advocacy, was adapted with a vision to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So here in Philippines, we promote Project Sulong, means strategic utilization of learning resources of OER nationwide with great teachers. So here is an example of the Project Sulong, which adopted an offline e-learning platform that you do not need internet connection. that students are accessing the resources on their home even without internet connection or data to their cell phone and gadget. Thanks to Kiwix and Colibri for sharing your open educational resources for us to reach those students that is having difficulty and do not have internet connection.
Mute. I think Sir Sherwin's discussion about Colibri and the other app could have been interesting if we aren't experiencing a connection issue right now. But definitely we will get back to his topic about OER because I know participants that were interested in knowing and exploring about open educational resources. We will get back to him and we will move on to our next speaker. The topic of our next speaker is about creating a meaningful relationship. And this is again a topic about psychosocial and ensuring well-being in the pandemic.
Yes, so allow me to introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is a dedicated life coach. He also run workshops and trainings for the US Embassy, the SOAS University, the University of London, Stanton University, Webster University, and the American School of Bangkok, working with clients worldwide to help them create a more meaningful life, improve their leadership, and develop an ability to deal with anything. On his own journey, David has trained with some of the world's top coaches and healing experts, from TED Talk speakers to shaman from the Shipibo tribe in the Amazon jungle of Peru. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to present to you Mr. David Bailey.
And I'm a life coach, and today we're going to be doing a workshop on creating meaningful relationships. I'm going to give you a little bit of background about myself and then we'll get into the topic. But before we do so, this is going to be an interactive experience. So I know you're not here live with me, but what I'd really love for this experience to be is something where you get to engage. So if you can just pause the video and go grab a pen, a pencil, or maybe you've got your laptop, something that you can actually write on, so that when I'm talking to you, that I'm going to be asking you to do exercises, that you can do them along with me during this process, because I think you'll get a lot more out of it rather than just listening to me talking if you actually partake in it, and you can leave messages and we can find some way to communicate. So if you can just pause the video, grab a pen, grab a pencil, piece of paper or a laptop, and then start. Okay, so my name's David Bailey, and I work as a life coach at the Mindfulness Academy Asia, which is a organization to promote mindfulness here in Thailand, in specifically the American School of Bangkok. Prior to that, I was working at SOAS University, which is the School of Oriental and African Studies in London, part of London University. And I've also worked as a guest lecturer for Webster University and Stendon University in their Mindful Leadership program. And the topic of creating meaningful relationships, something that has a lot of personal significance to me, because really everything we do in life is based on the relationships we have, the money we make, the friends we have, our family, our romantic partners. All of these things are really based on relationships, and without them life can feel very meaningless and lonely. So I'm going to be sharing with you some ways of understanding yourself and being able to connect with other people so that you can find your people, find the people that are right for you, and also maybe lose the people that aren't right for you, because it's not a case that you need to be getting on with everybody. Like, there's 3 billion people on the planet. There are people that like you, there are people that you're going to be more interested in than not, and vice versa, and that's okay. So we're going to be attracting the right people and repelling the wrong people, and we're going to be doing that through a series of self-reflection and exercises. But I'm going to share with you a story about how I got interested in this topic. And it's because up until my mid-20s, I was actually very, very shy. And I would never approach anybody. If I was at any kind of work event or party or social gathering, I would always hold back from connecting with other people. It led me to feel very lonely because my social circle grew smaller and smaller, and I was very nervous in talking to people, and it was actually very hard for anybody to get to know me because I was very reserved. I didn't give much away, I didn't really engage. If anybody asked me how I would just back the topic and change the subject, because I didn't really want to talk about myself. I was shy, I was scared, and life was lonely, life wasn't fun. And this really came to a head during my mid-20s, because I wanted a girlfriend at the time, and I've been single for 4 years, not through choice, but just through being scared to talk to anybody. And I realized I need to get this handled. I can't wait for the world, the universe, for whatever to sort this out. I need to take some action, take some responsibility. And it was very difficult to really admit that, to actually admit and be honest that, number one, I was lonely. Number two, I didn't really have a clue how to meet people. How do I talk to people? How do I talk to men? How do I talk to women? How do I talk to somebody that I'm even romantically interested in? I had no clue. It was like a foreign language to me. And it felt very frightening. And that was very difficult for me to fully own up and admit. Because in our culture, often we think, oh, people are either, they're very charismatic and charming or friendly or outgoing, or they're not. You're born with it or you're not. And of course, I wasn't born with it, but I wanted to learn it. And it felt, there was a lot of guilt and a lot of shame around that. But when I fully accepted it and asked for help, asked people for help, life began to get better. It was a difficult thing to do, but it was a very important thing. So if that is you, if you're maybe feeling dissatisfied with your relationships, your friendships or your romantic relationships, and you're not sure what to do, admitting or being honest about accepting that maybe you could do with some help, there's no shame in that. There's no shame in that, and it's very courageous just to be honest and own that. Because it means you want to connect with people. It means that you want to have better relationships. That's a good thing. There's nothing to feel embarrassed or ashamed of. So the process for me being able to transform my life to, now where I'm at, where I actually live in Bangkok, and I came here well, this is the second time I've been here, but when I first moved to Bangkok, I didn't know anyone. I had no connections. I had no friends. I had no companies that were giving me a job. I had to create everything from scratch. And I did that through creating relationships, through creating connections. And it was a culmination of just being able to talk to people, be of service, not worry about what the response was. And it was really how I built my life here. I did multiple workshops here in Thailand. One of the guys that came to my first workshop was involved at the US Embassy. He then invited me to be a speaker at the US Embassy. Because of that, I did some training at the US Embassy. Then I managed to, through that, get some work at Webster University through someone that was there. And then through that, at different universities. So all of this came through relationships. So I just want to really help you see that your work life, your social life, your romantic life, these things are all very much linked to your ability to be able to connect and relate to other people. Of course, often we think about family or romance, very much so, but it also relates to work, to friendship, everything really. When you go in to buy a coffee, when you go in to get some food in a restaurant, how you relate to the staff there, that's a relationship. And whatever it is that you want to create in your important relationships, I think it's important to really see and connect to. It's a way of being in the world. So if you want to have an amazing romance, for example, or an amazing family relationship, these are really noble and important goals. What I'd encourage you to try also, be in that mode of creating good connections and relationships with everybody. With the person you buy your food off in the restaurant, the server at 7-Eleven, everybody. If you're in that mode of just wanting to connect, being friendly and connect and giving rather than taking, it becomes a lot easier in the difficult relationships as well as just the ones around you. So to begin with, when one of the crucial things that you may have heard, especially if you're a man, that if you want to create a good relationship, your ability to listen is really paramount. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and your ability to listen to people is actually connected to your ability to relate to them. So there are 3 main modes of listening. There is, and I just want, when I explain these, for you to listen and just consider which category do you fit into. The first is a listen to agree. So you're like, imagine you're a proud father or mother and your son is telling you they've been in the school play. And you're like, oh my goodness, this is so interesting. You're just agreeing with everything they have to say. Yes, yes, yes. Just in your head, yes, yes, yes. You're just confirming and validating everything this person has to say. That is listening to agree. The second way we listen is listening to disagree. This could be, if you just, to make it very simple, imagine a politician you don't like. Okay? Now imagine they're talking, even if you actually kind of agreed on the topic that they're discussing, but the likelihood is you're like, I don't like this person, they got that wrong, they said that wrong, I'm not sure about this point. You're looking to undermine what they say, you're looking to argue. This is the second mode of listening. Now, the third mode, which is less common than either of the previous 2, is listening and being present. Just paying attention, like that person that you're talking to right now is the most important person on the planet. And you're not agreeing or disagreeing, you're just listening like the same way you would to good music that you enjoy. You're being present and you're giving them your attention, undivided attention, without the yes, 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 or the no, no, no. You're just being present. This, I'm going to suggest to you, is the best way you can listen. Sounds easy, can be quite challenging. Now, I'd like you just to consider which out of those 3 modes, the listening to agree, the listening to disagree, or the listening to be present, are you. have a think back on the last couple of conversations you've had. Now, I hazard a guess, most people are in the first category, listening to agree, because we like to be nice people. We want to agree, we want to be positive. This is the majority of the way that most people in the world listen. You know, you're positive, you're supportive, you're agreeing, you're confirming, etc., etc. You know, the listening to disagree is a bit less common, still fairly common though. But what I'm going to suggest to you is either of those modes is disconnecting slightly, because instead of just being present to the other person, you are having a lot of self-talk. You're not actually focused on what they're saying because you have an agenda that you're putting in between you and that other person, which creates a disconnect. So what I'm going to invite you to do is, in your next conversation, whomever it's with, just try your best to listen, to be present to what that person shares with you, without a yes, no, without this is wrong or this is right. Just do your best just to be present as if they are the most important person on the planet. This is going to give you maximum chance of connecting and building a meaningful relationship with that person. So just keep that in mind. Make a note for the next conversation that you're going to have to do that. So I'm going to be asking you now a series of questions, and these questions I want you to write down your answers and reflect on. They're going to help you understand yourself, because in order to create a meaningful relationship, as cheesy as it sounds, you need to have a better relationship with yourself. So understanding what you value, understanding what is important, understanding why anybody would want to be in a relationship with you is going to be very useful. So number one, I'd like you to consider, what is your greatest accomplishment? Now, I'll share with you mine, and then I'll give you some time to write down your own. You can pause the video or write down. So for me, personally, it has been well, actually very recently, something that happened. I was back in the UK, and my parents and we all had COVID. So they came to see me for Christmas, they got COVID, and they were very sick. I was okay, but Mum and Dad were both very sick. I had to look after my parents, and even though I was also ill, even though that I was also scared, and I give you what the worst or the hardest part of this was. It was New Year's Eve. I was on the phone to my girlfriend, and my mum came rushing up the stairs, and she was like, "You need to come, Dad's sick." So I ran down the stairs, and my dad sat in the chair with blankets over him, just sweating. He's burning up. He's got a very high temperature, and we took his temperature. It was through the roof. He was delirious. He wasn't even really aware that my mum and I were there. And I had to call 999, called an ambulance for him. So I phoned the ambulance, and I could feel myself, I wanted to cry. I was very upset because I was scared. And I knew right now I need to just be strong, because crying is not going to help Mum and Dad. Right now I just need to be strong. Speak to them, speak to the ambulance, call an ambulance. I called the ambulance. They're going to be at 1.5 hours. That's a long time. So I put down the phone. I need to tell my mum this. She's very upset, very worried, and I had to sit there with Mum, help my dad, give him some medicine, give him some water, and just be present, just try and calm the situation down. And this for me is a way to give back to my parents, because they've looked after me, they've really supported me and helped me, and it was being there to support Mum and Dad when it really counted, when they really needed me, and being able to be strong for them in that situation and help them, because they were sick for about 12 weeks, and I needed to look after them, cook for them, take care of things, reassure them, be positive, all the while having also have COVID myself. And that for me is definitely the most recent greatest accomplishment. So I want you to consider yours. Just pause the video, take some time to understand this. Understanding your own values with tangible examples, it becomes a lot easier to feel like you're enough. You know, when we say, oh, just feel positive, just feel like high self-esteem. Yeah, great. Well, if you actually connect it to something real that you've done, it's a lot easier to see, oh yeah, actually, yeah, I've done some pretty cool things. I've done some decent things. Now, your value, what your greatest accomplishment, it might be to do with work, it could be with family, it could be with romance, it could be with something you created. I don't know, but just spend some time connecting to that and really understanding why this is important, because this is going to help you understand why anybody would want to be in a relationship with you. Because if you don't feel good about yourself or you're not connected to your own value, it's very difficult to connect with other people. So really just consider that, write that down and get clear, and be willing to share that with other people as well. We'll get to that in a bit. So the next thing that I want you to do is really consider what you stand for. What is it that you value in your life? Like a value, like if you imagine this, you imagine the end of your life, you have a tombstone, this is what my life meant. Now it might sound a little bit morbid, but it's worth reflecting. Why are you here? What is it you stand for? This is something that I got from, I'm in Thailand right now, and it's a practice that I don't think they do commonly, but sometimes they would, in order to help people connect to that in Buddhist faith, they would put them in a coffin, close the coffin to consider their life. Sounds a little bit morbid, but the practice is really for you to get an understanding. What is the value? What do you stand for? A deep question, I know. Now for myself, my life, I want it to be about helping other people. If it's just about helping me, of course I want to help myself, but also sharing, being able to lift up others, help share what I know, share my experiences, and connect with other people and help them to feel and improve their life. So that, I imagine it like dropping a pebble in a pond, and that ripple effect. If I can share stuff, if I can help people focus on improving their lives, on changing the relationship they have with their own emotions, thinking, and creating more freedom and happiness, then I will be happy. That is what I think my life stands for. So for you, again, it could be, I don't know, maybe you love being creative, you love painting, or music, or cooking, or I don't know, but consider what is important to you. What is it that your life stands for? Because you don't want to just wait till the end of your life to think about this. We're looking at this now so that you can make better decisions moving from today onwards. So again, pause the video, write this down in detail. Okay, so another really important part of this is because it's worth communicating to other people. As sooner rather than later. Often what happens in social interactions, we meet somebody and we try to play a role. We try to play the role of, I hope this person likes me, so I'm going to agree or pretend to be interested in the kind of things they're interested in. Now, that's nice, that's considerate, but it is also kind of fake. If instead you were to meet somebody and share with them, imagine, this is my greatest accomplishment. What is your greatest accomplishment? Or this is what I really value in life. Imagine if you met someone and you said, look, maybe I know this is a bit weird, but I was on this course the other day about relationships and they were talking about values. And for me personally, I value whatever it is that you value. Sharing that, I'm really interested, what is it that you care about? What is it that you value in your life? You know, if you imagine on a tombstone, like, that would open up a much more interesting conversation. You would get to know that person with much more depth. and give them a chance for them to know you. Now, if they're like, oh my goodness, I'm not interested in helping other people, I don't want to talk to you, great. Guess what? You don't waste any time. You just found out quick that person's not for you. Fantastic. So it doesn't matter. Their response or their reaction is irrelevant. What is matter is that you're going to find out very quickly if this is someone that you would even want to connect with, or that would want to connect with you, and you give them a real opportunity for them to know you. You don't wait 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 days. You just give them an opportunity from the get-go to know who you really are. And this can also work with people that you're in relationship with. So, of course, new people, fantastic, but also people that you are in relationship with, that maybe you're having very superficial conversations. Go a little bit deeper. Be the person that is willing to go first. So I wouldn't just rock up and ask, hey, what do you value the most in life? That can be some people, if they're very reflective and you've got a good connection already, maybe. What I would suggest is be the person that goes first. Share. Literally, you can still, I just said, say, hey, I was on this course and blah, 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 or whatever it is that you want, and then ask them. It will be a much more fascinating question, and it will give you a chance for them to get to know you and them to get to know you. Now, and you to get to know them. Right? They've already got to know you. So now, the next part of this, I'd like you to consider over the last 30 days of your life, did you demonstrate through actual tangible action an example related to that value? So for example, for me, I say, well, my life's about trying to help other people create better lives for themselves and be more comfortable with their emotions, create better relationships. And if I look back on the last 30 days, did I actually do that? Not did I think about. Thinking about it doesn't count. Did I actually help someone in that respect? Did I actually talk to somebody or do something that was moving in that direction that I've just said is really valuable to me? If for you, you're like, well, I want to be an entrepreneur. Did you do something entrepreneurial? Not think about it, but if somebody was following you with a video camera, would they have been able to say, yep, this is the thing that this person did, that you did, that was entrepreneurial or kind or loving or whatever the value is? Would you be able to say, over the last 30 days, I actually did some of this stuff? Write down all the examples of that. Take a moment to do that. Now, if you have no examples of actually taking action on the thing that you say is very important, then I'm going to suggest that you may need to make some changes in your life, or consider, is that really important? If that number of things related to what you say is important is quite low, or even if it's high, whatever it is, but look at your life going forward for the next 30 days and consider examples of places you could actually take action. So, for example, I say my life, being an artist is my most important value. So where could I get an opportunity to do that? Well, maybe on a Wednesday night, I finish work early, so I'm going to commit to doing an hour painting every Wednesday. That would be an example of this. Or maybe I say, well, being a good father is the highest value. Well, okay, I didn't really spend much time with the kids, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit to every Sunday spending an hour playing with them, or whatever it is. Get specific, put it in a calendar, get very specific with this, because if it's just general, guess what, it probably won't happen. So get specific with this and put it in your calendar right now, so that you can then start to create a life based around the values that you say are important. Now you might be like, well, what has this got to do with relationships? It has everything to do with relationships. If you're living a life according to your values, if you're willing to listen to people and connect with them without judging them, if you can communicate the things in your life that you're proud of, and also the things in your life that are difficult, guess what? You're much more likely to have a deeper connection and deeper, more meaningful relationships. Now, you might say, well, people don't want to talk about this stuff. People don't like blah, 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 blah. Listen, just pause that thought for a moment. Be the person that goes first. So this is really a principle in everything I do. Well, I want people to be more friendly. Great. Be the more friendly person. I wish people were more interested in deep topics. Great. Be the person that is interested in that. Now, it might mean you have to talk to some people that aren't interested. Not a problem. Guess what? You just find out. If they're not interested in the kind of things you are, no harm. It's not an issue. But be honest, guys. Like holding back, pretending you're into things you're not into, not expressing yourself fully, it's lying. It isn't actually honest. It's not helpful for you or the other person. Yes, they might like you superficially, but they're not really, you're not giving them an opportunity to know them. So be the person that goes first. Make a commitment in the next week. Write this down somewhere or someone that you're going to speak to and share what is your greatest accomplishment, what is your prime value in your life. Make a commitment to have that conversation. Could be with someone you already know or someone that you don't yet know. But make a commitment to doing this, because this is how you create meaningful relationships. Number one, you go first, you're open. Number two, you listen. You're non-judgmental, you're present. Give the person the gift of listening. Number three, you're living through your values. So if, like I said, look in the next 30 days where you have opportunities to live through the values that you say are important, because people want to connect with people that are living in alignment to things that they care about. It's much more magnetic than just someone that doesn't care and is just not sure where they're going, or has no interest, or doesn't seem to have any integrity around how they're living. These are very tangible steps that you can take to help you create more meaningful relationships. If you check there's a download section, there's a PDF workbook that has all of these questions so that you can write them down and get very clear, practice them, and then get your calendar out and actually commit to where are you going to put this into practice, guys, because I don't want this just to be an exercise in thinking. I want this to be an exercise in creating a more meaningful life and relationship for you. So that is all we have time for now. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you found this useful. I know maybe it's a little bit different to some of the presentations, but I wanted to make it more interactive because I really want you to change your life and to create more meaningful relationships. And I'd love to hear how you get on with this. Please, my name's David Bailey. If you have Facebook, check David Bailey Life Coach, or Instagram, David Bailey Life Coach. Or if you obviously do have the internet, my website is londonhypnotherapist.com. You can reach me there, inquiries at londonhypnotherapist.com, or DCJ Bailey, which is BAILEY, at gmail.com. Please let me know how you found this material. Please let me know how you're working it into your life. Let me know any successes. Let me know if you're having trouble with anything. I'd really enjoy hearing back from you, because that would be very meaningful for me. So thank you very much for your attention, and I really appreciate this. I hope this has been helpful for you, and goodbye. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Sir David Bailey, for that meaningful talk about creating a meaningful relationship. It is a truth that we have to live with meaningful relationships, because we don't just live for our own sake.
Yes, and with that, we also would like to remind our dear teachers regarding with the evaluation links that we're going to have. So we will be posting it here so that you can evaluate our speaker for today, none other than Mr. David Bailey. And his topic is about creating a meaningful relationship. Okay, so you may take a screenshot of our link and as well as our QR code so you can evaluate Mr. Bailey.
Or you can directly scan the QR code that you can see on your screen so you can evaluate Mr. David Bailey immediately.
Okay, and after that, we will be giving you the attendance speaker. So, to our dear teachers, please make sure and tune into our attendance so that you'll be able to have your certificates at the end of the webinar session.
Yes, and as a reminder, they have to screenshot every topic for today. So for them to be reminded of all the topics that we had today, first we start with Miss Bonnie Cheng, and her topic is giving and receiving forgiveness.
Yes, we also have stress management and looking out for depression, given to us by Miss Withia Balachandran.
And then it was followed by Miss Joy G. Salazar, and her topic is ethical issues on internet communities.
And of course, about television and DepEd TV, given to us by Sir Salvador Manansala I.
So we have 4 topics in the morning session. For the afternoon session, we have
the Write About, an alternative for writing classes in the time of COVID-19, given to us by Dr. Budi Waluyo.
Okay, and then we just had Creating a Meaningful Relationship by David Bailey. So far in the afternoon session, we already have 2 speakers. So if you are really tuning in and taking a screenshot of all the speakers we have today, there should be 6 screenshots already. And as we are fixing some technical issues with Sir Sherwin Lumeda's talk, we'd like to check the comment section.
Yes, so we have here a comment from Ma'am Josephine Guerrero. My greatest accomplishment in life is having a loving family, friends, and a work to support my family and pupils who needs my help. Well, you know what, partner, that's very important. If you know that you have your family always at your back and your friends, as long as you are sharing your love with one another and that love is unconditional, it's truly considered a blessing for each and every one of us.
That is right. Based on a song, love would keep us alive, and love is really important to life. Just imagine living without life, or just imagine living a life without love. Okay,
Yes,
just be the other way around.
Okay, so that is why we would like to remind our dear teachers, so please be mindful of the relationships that you have. If you know that it is something negative or it's toxic for you, and you cannot fix it, then it's okay to move on and just go back whenever you're ready to fix it.
And we should also know when to end a relationship. I know many of us cannot really move on or don't know when to let go of things and of people. So we should also know when to move on, or when to really let go from that toxic relationship. Because knowing that a relationship is toxic is different from moving on and moving out from that relationship.
Okay, so that is why it is really important for us to take care of our heart.
That is
okay?
right.
So let us, before we proceed with our next speaker, let us watch this short video.
The Department of Education, in collaboration with the Department of Information and Communications Technology and the National Transmission Corporation, will establish the Public Education Network, also known as PEN, to address the problems of connecting schools to the internet. The PEN is in line with the President's directive to both agencies announced during his State of the Nation address last 27th of July 2020 to connect all public schools and DepEd offices nationwide. This also includes the prioritization of last-mile schools by providing them access to electricity and internet. The PEN started out with the connectivity program of DepEd, which was started in 2018. It was continuously developed until the final framework was finalized with the collaboration from DICT and Transco. The PEN includes the following major components. First, a redundant core network that will house all the education systems. Second, a wide area network known as WAN that will connect schools to the core network and allow them to access education systems without the need for internet bandwidth. Third, a customer premise equipment or CPE in each school that will establish a virtual private network or VPN. Fourth, a virtual private network to secure network traffic. Fifth, a caching device in each school that will improve the responsiveness of systems. Sixth, a high-speed internet connection from all available technologies that will be distributed by the core network to schools based on the actual consumption requirements. And lastly, the school network. It is a set of networking equipment that will be needed to connect all classrooms to the internet. The PEN is implemented in 6 phases. With its target success, the PEN will result in the following advantages to the education system. First, it will allow teachers and learners to access the DepEd Commons and LR portal, which contain teacher guides, open educational resources, video and audio lectures, and electronic self-learning modules that are mapped against the curriculum. Second, it will allow teachers and learners to access the DepEd learning management system that will facilitate blended learning and allow teachers to create tests with PISA-like questions that will potentially improve the ranking of the country in the next PISA exam. The LMS will also facilitate distance learning, making the education system more resilient to disasters like the COVID-19 pandemic and typhoons, which normally results in the suspension of classes that rely only on face-to-face modalities. Third, it will allow schools to access the DepEd Enterprise Resource Planning Systems, or DERPS, that automates organizational processes such as asset management, HR transactions, payroll, procurement, and project monitoring. Fourth, it will support the implementation of TV and radio-based education by allowing learners to access a Netflix-like application that can be used to access video and audio lectures that will also be broadcasted through TV and radio stations. Fifth, it will allow the department to conduct a large-scale teacher trainings with minimal cost, as demonstrated by DepEd when it trained 337,486 public school teachers on distance learning modalities in just a span of 2 months during community quarantine. Sixth, it will substantially reduce the cost of internet connection by allowing teachers and learners to access educational systems that are housed in the core network through the wide area network without the need for internet bandwidth. 7. It will allow security management to be centralized and ensure that teachers and learners will be safe from cyber attacks and harmful websites. It will also allow schools that are used as precincts to send election results through a VPN that is secure and protected from external attackers. In addition, it will provide a centralized view of the entire network, allowing DepEd to automatically identify disconnections even without feedback from the schools, and thus make the appropriate response to reconnect the disconnected schools. The Public Education Network is a collaborative project between DepEd and DICT that will modernize the education system and make Filipino graduates more competitive in the international market. It is an investment that is needed to respond to the growing challenges of a world that has grown more unpredictable and uncertain. It will be the foundation for the next generation of Filipino leaders and highly equipped, innovative educators. we face the command of rapid development in technological innovation in the world, the Philippines' preparedness in advancement of its physical facilities, infrastructure, and soft skills are given focus, especially with the empowerment of teachers' capacity and capability, not only in pedagogical aspects of teaching, but the confidence in delivering instruction with the use of information and communications technology. The Office of the Undersecretary for Administration, under the leadership of USEC Alain Delby Pasqua, established the Educational Technology Unit under the Information and Communications Technology Service. Its prime function is to empower and capacitate public school teachers and learners as required by the global demand of the fast-paced development in technology. The task of the Educational Technology Unit is to promote and solidify the innovation and digitization projects that will support the requirements of the K-12 curriculum in delivering quality, accessible, relevant, and liberating education for all. It targets different components and facets of skills development, which will enable the technological advancement of the infrastructure of DepEd. This is supplemented with empowerment training programs in emerging technologies for public school teachers. The programs of the EdTech unit target the emerging pedagogies focused on open educational resources, robotics and mechatronics, coding and programming, virtual reality and augmented reality in education, mobile application development, Internet of Things, and the productivity tools for learning, which includes Microsoft Office 365, Google Apps for Education, and the different Adobe software tools. In addition, the maneuver of in-house applications such as the DepEd Commons and the DepEd Learning Management System is under the flagship of the EdTech unit. The supervision of DepEd TV in ensuring world-class produced video lessons is another task of the office. Lastly, the conduct of free online tutorial session, coined with the term eTulay, is a bridging program to support learners and parents in answering the self-learning modules pioneered with the initiative of the ICTS-EdTech unit. A teacher's influence is limitless, bound with the heart for service and dedication to fulfill the greatest mission to educate the young. The ICTS Educational Technology Unit will be there to promote, to empower, and to inspire Filipino teachers and learners as we grow as a tiger in the region, hitting our target as one of the best in educational technology. Come on and join us as we make our dreams into a reality. Sama-sama tayong lahat tungo sa iisang layunin. Simulan natin ang pagbabago dahil tayo ang mga gurong magtatayo ng makabagong DepEd. Sulong Edukalidad.
Year 2020. You started to defy limits.
Ating tuklasin. Obra! Lagi mong gamitin ang iyong isip at kilos loob.
Proving that education knows no boundaries. Bringing knowledge to every part of the country.
May kulang ba sa akin? May mali ba sa akin? Pangit ba ako?
Magbasa, magsulat, makinig at maghaya.
This 2021, as we come to a year of DepEd TV, of turning dreams into reality, of courage to initiate and innovate, of passion that goes beyond tradition. We proudly present the first ever DepEd TV Awards. Outstanding Teacher Broadcaster Awards. Production Awards. Special Awards. And Core Values Awards. A night of excellence and gratitude. This is DepEd TV Awards, coming in August 2021.
Okay, so again, good afternoon to our dear teachers. And right now, we will be posting the attendance links and as well as the evaluation links. So please be ready. Get your camera phones and take a screenshot. And you may also start scanning the evaluations and our attendance links for our 3-day webinar session. Okay, so we are just waiting for the link to be posted. And okay, there you go. So that is our link for the attendance, and also this can be seen in the comment section of this page. Okay,
so for you to
yeah,
so for our participants to easily access the link for the attendance, kindly check the comment section, because we know that you cannot really click on the banner that you can see on the screen. So just check the comment section. So you will be directed to the registration form for today's session.
Yes, okay, so I think it is posted already. So we have here in DepEd Philippines Educational Technology Unit, DepEd TV Official, and of course from Sir Sherwin Lumeda also. Okay, so that is our attendance link. So our dear teachers, please don't forget to log in your attendance for today. Okay, and also we will be posting the evaluation links for our speakers for today. Okay, so for those who are asking if they need permission, kindly double check your email account that you are using. Okay, so
maybe they should use their DepEd email account.
Yes, okay, so you need to use your DepEd email account. If you are a new teacher and you still don't have your DepEd email account, you may contact your IT officer in your school or your IT officer in your division. Okay, so we have here again the evaluation links for our speakers for this day. Let's start off with, of course, Miss Bonnie Cheng, and the topic is about giving and receiving forgiveness. Okay, so please take a screenshot or you may start scanning our QR code for today's evaluation.
Okay, for our second speaker, we have Quincia Balachandran with her topic about stress management and looking out for depression.
Okay, next up we have Ma'am Joy Salazar, and her topic is about ethical issues on internet communities.
Okay, next is about quality education through television by Sir Salvador E. Mansala I.
Okay, next. Is the evaluation link for Dr. Budi Waluyo, and his topic is about write about an alternative for writing classes in the time of COVID-19.
Next to that is the discussion of Sir David Bailey about creating a meaningful relationship.
Okay, so we also would like to inform you, our dear teachers, for those who doesn't have their DepEd account, we'll be working on it. It just so happened that the default that we are using in every evaluation that we have, like for example in the in-service training that we have, the default is that we should be using our DepEd email. But rest assured, just keep your screenshots with you. We will be updating you maybe tomorrow or on the last day. We'll be adjusting this default so that all the teachers, whether you have your DepEd email account or you requested for permission, will be working on it a while ago. Then later on, you can still access that. Just keep on
Yes,
trying.
and I believe that some of our participants are from the private schools. So they don't have their debit Gmail account, so they will be using their personal email account. Don't worry, we will address this issue so that we can accommodate you in our training session.
Yes, and we will also be providing you with the link of the memorandum of this event, because we know, partner, that this is very important since this is an international webinar for teachers. We know that you will be needing the memorandum and attach with your certificates after the 3-day session so that you can use it for your own benefit.
That is correct. I think we are now ready to move on and have our last discussion for today.
Okay, so again, for those teachers who are asking for the link, we'll just keep the link here at the banner. So please, you may start logging in for your attendance. Okay, so we will now proceed to our next speaker. Again, we are proud to present to you one of our EdTech specialists here at the Department of Education Central Office. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sherwin Gonzalez Lomeda.
Good day, everyone. My name is Sherwin Lumeda, one of the EdTech specialists in the Department of Education here in Philippines. And we welcome all of you on our international webinar. Today, we have a very interesting topic about Open Educational Resources, or OER. What is OER again? Open Educational Resources are teaching, learning, and research materials in any medium, digital or otherwise. It resides in the public domain or have been released under an open license that permits no-cost access, use, adaptation, and redistribution by others with no or limited restrictions. OER form part of open solutions alongside free and open source software, or FOSS, open access, or OA, open data, or OD, and crowdsourcing platforms. So what is UNESCO's mandate in OER? UNESCO is the only UN agency with a dedicated OER program. The term Open Educational Resources was first coined in 2002 at a forum organized by UNESCO on open course in higher education. In November 2019, the 40th UNESCO General Conference adopted the UNESCO OER recommendation, which is the only international standard setting framework in this area worldwide. UNESCO believes that universal access to information through high-quality education contributes to peace, sustainable social and economic development, and intercultural dialogue. OER provides a strategic opportunity to improve the quality of learning and knowledge sharing, as well as improve policy dialogue, knowledge sharing, and capacity building globally. Since 2002, UNESCO has developed large-scale projects with global projects with impact at the regional, national, and institutional level to provide expert technical assistance to member states in advocacy, capacity building, and policy support for OER. In parallel, UNESCO developed and supported a network of chairs and Category 2 centers working on the promotion of OER. In addition, UNESCO leads intergovernmental discussions on OER capacity building, policy, sustainability, quality, and accessibility issues and its applications to meet the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And what is all about this sustainable development? focus on education, or the SDG 4, was adopted with a vision to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So here in Philippines, we promote Project Sulong, means strategic utilization of learning resources of OER nationwide with great teachers. So here is an example of the Project Sulong, which adopted an offline e-learning platform that you do not need internet connection. That students are accessing the resources on their home even without internet connection or data to their cell phone and gadget. Thanks to Kiwix and Colibri for sharing your open educational resources for us to reach those students that is having difficulty and do not have internet connection.
hundreds of millions of children around the world lack access to quality, basic education. The emergence of free and open educational materials on the internet seems to offer tremendous hope, but it turns out that those who need these new opportunities the most are the least able to access them.
The perfect problem for technology to solve.
We invite you to join us in the offline learning revolution.
This is Sal Khan of the Khan Academy, and I just want to say that, the whole effort around K-Lite and the Foundation for Learning Equality, they're an instrumental part of our broader mission of providing a free world-class education for anyone, anywhere. And so I encourage supporters, big and small, whether it's a $5 donation or a $50 donation or a $50,000 donation, they need our support because they are taking the Khan Academy software, the Khan Academy content to the world, and frankly to some of the people who need it most. So I can't overstate how much social impact that they're having.
The OER goals in the Department of Education: promote and spread the DepEd OER advocacy, which is teach minds, touch hearts, transform lives. Equal access and opportunity with the aid of technology, most especially in the remote and last-mile schools. Training and professional development for teachers. Support the public schools of the future's Digital Rise program of the Department of Education. Produce OER materials aligned with curriculum guide and to have a strong partnership.
Late in 2018, DepEd officials went to the United States to visit some of the department's international partners. This was to establish the implementation of various programs and to facilitate future partnerships. The DepEd team attended the Oracle Open World 2018 and saw the projects of senior high school students of Oracle's Design Tech High School at the exhibit. The students were part of the elective exploration program, which consists of 4 two-week intersessions every school year on top of the regular curriculum. DepEd has asked Oracle to bring the same program to the Philippines in the future.
So it's called the Communicator, and it's basically a chatbot that helps you optimize your daily commute by communicating your plans to people without you having to do anything.
With the promise of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, the Department of Education is adopting a new policy direction in transforming the Philippine education system. It is building a strong foundational framework and is fully supporting educational technology. This is the beginning of the public schools of the future's digital rise.
Ang digital rise natin supports that particular aspect ng ating K-12 curriculum na binibigyan natin ng devices that are needed
in order to deliver those digital literacy skills sa ating mga bata. Then, secondly, ang ating digital rise, sinusupport niya yung, again, part ng K-12 curriculum kasi requires na yung ating mga teachers will be using ICT to strengthen their yung pedagogical skills nila, no? So, part ng digital rise will be putting in yung mga computers, devices para sa ating teachers. So, that will include one laptop and television or a digital board dun sa bawat classroom ng ating mga schools. And finally, ang isang aspect din sa curriculum is it requires na magkaroon ng access yung mga bata natin sa mga e-learning resources. So, marami na tayong na-collect na mga digital resources from Khan Academy, from Wikipedia offline, and so on. Around 300 gigabytes worth na of resources na na-collect natin, along with yung LR portal natin. And meron pang parating, as soon as masign yung MOA with DOST, meron pang Starbucks na again around another 300 gigabytes worth of learning resources.
Another goal is to create in every public science high school an innovation hub, where the latest available emerging technologies are provided for the use and manipulation of learners having ICT as an elective. The hub houses 3D printing technology, makerspace, robotics engineering and simulation, mechatronics facilities, and drone technology, among others.
Well, this actually helps a lot, especially when children are exposed to the technology. I know some kids around, they also started doing robotics way before than I did. And I was surprised that all the ideas they had, and they were able to do so, mainly using the Lego Mindset Robotics. And I just wondered if they could make it in that young of age. I wonder what will happen if they would go on and keep on learning about it.
These innovations will not be limited to just a few schools. All public school learners are envisioned to have tablets or laptops or access to them. The transformative learning in using these educational devices enhances the 21st century skills of learners and bridges the digital divide, most especially in the last mile schools who are not exempt from the digital rise. With the digital rise, learners are encouraged to use their creativity and technology to make a difference in the world. DepEd's digital rise will be made possible through the continued efforts of the administration in partnership with international industry players to deliver quality and future-ready resources for the benefit of learners, teachers, and administrators, as well as the entire DepEd community. The digital rise in Philippine public education has begun. DepEd provides the best future for our learners by creating changes that mark the milestones of educational reform to teach minds, touch hearts, and transform lives. Welcome to the start of Philippine education's digital rise.
The birth of Digital Rise program of the Department of Education creates a big impact in the Philippine education system. The 5 R's permission of open educational resources: retain, make and own copies; reuse, use in a wide range of ways; revise, adapt, modify, and improve; remix, combine 2 or more; redistribute, share with others; With the combination of this OER and Digital Rise program, everything is possible.
DepEd's open educational resources is seen as the answer to the country's persistent problem on internet connectivity in public schools. It aims to meet the demands of 21st century learning by digitizing classrooms but without the need for internet connection. OER materials will be made available offline, paving the way for accessible delivery of quality basic education even to far-flung areas. DepEd OER serves as the baseline skill for the department's Digital Rise program, whose goal is to develop the computer literacy skills of public school learners. With its wide array of offline resources, teachers will be empowered to properly utilize educational technology. The DepEd OER started when Mark Anthony C., a former grade school teacher and institutional EdTech liaison officer in LaSalle Green Hills, joined the department on April 16, 2018. Immediately under USEC Alain Del Pascua's order, he started implementing the program with the help of 12 DepEd personnel, some of whom are teachers. This original group grew to a larger number that is now called the OER National Core Leaders. The region of Mimaropa is lucky to be part of this innovative movement after two of its teachers were chosen as core leaders of the OER program. The region's technology leaders are Sarah Jane Serino of San Jose National High School from the Puerto Princesa City Division, together with Ken Mirasol of Nara National High School from the Schools Division Office of Palawan. Recently, the OER program finally started its run in the city of Puerto Princesa through the initiatives of City DepEd's ICTS section under Richard Deo Fondevilla, along with Sarah Jane Serino. The National Training Workshop on the use and creation of OERs for 21st century learning became possible at Sunlight Guest Hotel on December 2-7, 2019. The said training was conducted in 3 batches. The first batch was composed of education program supervisors, public schools district supervisors, and school heads. The last 2 batches had IT coordinators and teachers from different specializations and grade levels. The objective of the training workshop was to upskill both the school administrators and the classroom teachers as they work together in aligning the curriculum and teaching pedagogies with the challenges of 21st century education. Participants were taught basic OER programs such as authoring tools and other open source materials. An advanced OER software was also introduced where teachers learned about ebook development. At the core of the OER program is to connect the disconnected schools so that no teachers and no students will be left behind, in line with the department's international commitment to ensure education for all. The OER team also visited Talaudjong Elementary School, a remote school in the city of Puerto Princesa, to check on the needs of the school and its learners. With DepEd OERs, Philippines is seen to be going at par with neighboring countries in Asia in terms of digital literacy. Fueled by the passion for educational technology, OER core leaders and volunteers will continue spreading the OER advocacy, all for the goal of teaching minds, touching hearts, and transforming lives. Indeed, DepEd's Digital Rise program in the Schools Division Office of Puerto Princesa has finally begun.
There you have it. We finally have concluded our first day of our webinar series.
Yes, and of course, we would like to invite all the teachers to take your selfies and as well as your screenshots. And don't forget to include this in your caption, whether on your Facebook account or any other social media accounts, so that we'll be able to see your post, okay? So don't forget to use this one. We'll be flashing this on your screen. So that is hashtag ETUX GENTEFL 2021. Okay.
So that's EdTech Unit in collaboration with GENTEFL 2021.
Again, our dear teachers, don't forget to include this hashtag in your caption. Okay.
So we are excited to actually see the screenshots and selfies that you will be making using this hashtag that you can see on the screen. Partner would like to again clarify the access for the attendance form.
Yes, okay, so we will be posting it again. So here's the attendance on how you're going to log in for attendance for today. And for those who are wondering how you're going to access the attendance, we will be posting this attendance link in surprise. We're not going to announce the time tomorrow and on the next day, so that you will be focusing more on the seminar rather than on the attendance, okay?
Yes. So you have to really watch for or wait when we are going to post and to give the link for our attendance on each day of our webinar session. For today, we have we posted it this afternoon, so you have to find out and wait. What time are we going to post the link for the second day and for the third day? Okay, again, you might have an issue opening this link because for right now it's only for those who have their DepEd Gmail account. But don't worry, we will also open the attendance form. Oh, it's okay already. So you can also open the form using your personal Gmail account.
Yes, and don't forget to answer the evaluation form for our last speaker for today. Our last speaker is none other than Mr. Sherwin G. Lomeda, and his topic is all about the open educational resources. So you may scan this QR code, and also you may take a screenshot of this so you can fill up the evaluation form later.
All right, so just a reminder, our dear participants, you have to use one email for your attendance. It's either you for those who have their DepEd Gmail account, don't use your personal Gmail account anymore. Just one email account to sign up for the attendance.
Okay, so I guess we're done with our first day, and we would like to say thank you to all the teachers who joined us today, and we are expecting for more participants. So please inform your co-teachers and as well as your friends to attend this webinar, not just for DepEd teachers, but also for teachers who are in the private schools. And our attendance and evaluation is available for day 1 up to 11:59 p.m. tonight.
Yes, so you have a lot of time to sign up for the attendance. So there's no reason for you not to be able to log in for our today's session.
Okay, so again, we would like to say thank you, of course, to the Office of the Undersecretary for Administration and together with the Department of Education, Information and Communication Technology Service, of course, the whole EdTech unit, the Educational Technology Specialist, and of course, the project lead for this international webinar, none other than Miss Aprilyn B. Marquez.
And most especially, we would like to thank the participants that we have for today. Actually, we reached 7,300 watchers for today. So we are really grateful for hitting that number.
Yes, okay. And we also would like to invite everyone, your co-teachers, your friends, to please remind them to attend our session for tomorrow.
Because tomorrow we have more and fruitful discussions and sessions. So please watch out for these presentations.
Okay, so I guess we're done. That's all to our beloved teachers. And we have, this one is a total number of our current registered attendees. That's 5,949 and counting. Okay, so we'll see you again tomorrow. This has been Mr. John Jefferson Sevilla.
And this is Miss Maria May N. Sevilla.
Saying goodbye and have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, teachers. Take
Bye.
care.
The Department of Education, through the Office of Undersecretary for Administration, DepEd OUA, Information and Communications Technology Service, Educational Technology, ICTS-EdTech, invites you to join its first ever international multidisciplinary webinar series in collaboration with the Global Educators Network Association of Teachers of English as a Foreign Language, GENTEFL, Thailand. This 3-day webinar series will gather experts and specialists from different areas of study and from all parts of the globe to equip and empower educators in their areas of specialization, integrated through educational technology. This event is a convergence of resource speakers and expertise to further teachers' ability to answer the challenges of these changing times through topics with educational technology integration. Be updated and save this following days. Solo Educalidad!